Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So now that the draft is a couple days away, before I give my final mock draft, I thought that we would react to what I think is genuinely like the gold standard of NHL mock drafts, and that is The Athletic, and more specifically Corey Pronman's. When looking at Pronman's the last 2 years, he has been very, very accurate in terms of the top 5 and even extended out to the top 10. So we're going to react to the first round, and here's the stats on Corey Pronman if you don't believe me and believe that he's accurate. In 2022, got Slavkovsky, Cooley, right, Gauthier correct, just swapped Jiricek and Nemec. Also got Kasper right. Korchinski, who kind of was in the surprise at 7th overall, he had him all the way at 10th, not exactly 7th, but he was very accurate in 2022. 2023, got the entire top 5 correct, including Leo Carlsson 2nd, Fantilli 3rd, Reinbacher 5th, Michkov 7th, as well as also Nate Danielson was a guy that was a surprise that he went in the top 10 at 9th. He had him in the top 10. So he has been very accurate, even compared to a Bob McKenzie. He's been more accurate than him. So this guy's the gold standard. This guy clearly knows what he's talking about. He is clearly plugged in to a degree on what these teams are looking at in terms of their top prospects. So we're going to react to this right now. So let's get into it. When looking at it from Corey Pronman, got a picture of Yakimchuk, Boyum, and Seneca right there. After Macklin Celebrini making selections for all 225 picks. Not going to react to all 225. As you can see, this isn't a 35-minute video. But up first, Macklin Celebrini. Pretty straightforward. Leshinov. Okay. Silyev. This is like seeming to form that it's going to be the top 3. Leshinov at 2nd overall to Chicago Blackhawks. I think they should go Demidov. Anaheim Ducks. I think that they should go Lindstrom if Demidov's off the board. But it's looking like Kyle Davidson and Pat Verbeek are valuing defensemen. It does make sense. Chicago doesn't have maybe that true number 1 potentially one day. I think Korchinski's going to be a very good offensive defenseman. It is what it is. Anton Silyev to the Anaheim Ducks. I'm not too high on that. I don't love him as a prospect. I think he's just far too limited offensively. I understand the Anaheim Ducks maybe going down the route of a defenseman, but I personally would go with more of an offensive upside guy, like even a Sam Dickinson, I think has a shit ton more offense potential, not even mentioning a Boyum or a Zane Parik. Not saying it would be horrendous, but not a fan of this personally. At 4th, I'm going to guess it's Lindstrom. I haven't seen this yet, by the way. Caden Lindstrom, I think, okay. Ivan Demidov, the 5th to Montreal. So Caden Lindstrom at 4th. I think that this would be a slam dunk by the Columbus Blue Jackets. You move him over to the wing to play with Adam Fantilli, a finisher of his degree. I don't love his playmaking. I recently actually did my scouting breakdown on TikTok and Instagram if you want to go check that out. I like Caden Lindstrom a lot, but I think he's probably a winger at the next level. Ivan Demidov to the Montreal Canadiens would be fucking insane. Montreal Canadiens fans would lose their shit, especially after taking Reinbacher last year instead of Michkov. They make everything right in the world. At 5th overall, they select the Russian, who's apparently going to be fully signed by next spring. This would be fantastic by the Montreal Canadiens. Now it goes off the board. I feel like this is kind of turning into like a consensus top 5 almost. 6th is going to be very interesting. So let's see this. Zeev Boyum. I have him as my number 4 defenseman. If you watch my defenseman video, I have him behind Parik. I have him behind Leshinov and Dickinson. Solid by Utah. I think Utah's definitely going to go defense based on their forward core. Bennett Seneca going 7th to the Ottawa Senator. That would be very... I kind of penciled in Ottawa as a defenseman slot. I understand if they went forward. I think they probably should go defenseman, especially in this scenario where you still have Dickinson, Parik, and Yakimchuk still available. I wouldn't love that. I think that Seneca is actually a pretty good player, but eesh. Again, Pronman's very dialed in, so there's clearly some smoke. They might just end up going best player available. I wouldn't love that, though. Carter Yakimchuk to the Seattle Kraken. Wouldn't love that either. I think Dickinson and Parik are both much better prospects, but Yakimchuk is pretty consensus my 6th. There's a big drop-off after Yakimchuk for me. So we still have the Calgary Flames and Devils up next. Dickinson to the Calgary Flames would be very solid. I think that would immediately become their number 1 defenseman prospect. Obviously, Hunter Brustevich is solid, but he's not on the same level as Sam Dickinson. I do expect them to go TJ Ginla still being available there. That would be tough. I think that I like Dickinson more than TJ Ginla. Would they pass up TJ Ginla in that scenario? Not too sure. I like TJ Ginla to the New Jersey Devils, though. I think either Ginla or Constant Helenius are guys that can play in their draft year +2 at the NHL level. I think that they have very pro style of hockey. They might not have the highest upside in the entire draft, but for a New Jersey team, if you can get a guy young, an impact guy immediately, two-way guy to be on your third line while you're trying to contend on an ELC, that would be fantastic for them. They're not going to take some long-term project, considering their window isn't like the next 3 to 4 years. It's the next decade for the most part, but they still need an impact guy relatively soon. So we still have Peric, Helenius, and others. Yzerman still available. Berkeley Cadden still available too. 11 to the Buffalo Sabres. I think that's solid. Sabres have a loaded forward core. Peric, I think that I would go Peric here if I was them, but I understand why not. Okay, now we got Helenius to the Flyers at 12th. I think if Peric's there for the Flyers at 12th, I think that would be too juicy to pass up. As fun as Helenius would kind of be a perfect fit for like a Matvei Michkov because he is so responsible both sides of the ice, and I think he's an underrated playmaker in my opinion. But I think that they're more so lacking a young future franchise defenseman. Peric falling all the way to Minnesota Wild would be fantastic. Yes, Brock Faber's also right-handed, but one top pair with Brock Faber, second pair of Zane Peric more offensively. Zane Peric becomes that top power play guy. That would be a disgusting 1-2 defenseman duo, not pair, but duo going forward. So most of the top guys are out. I'm trying to think of Yzerman still hasn't gone. Nygaard still hasn't gone. Let's see who else is still available. Solberg at 14th, Hage 15th. Interesting. Solberg makes some sense. I wouldn't hate this pick here. I'm not as high on Solberg as others, but I think he's going to be a very solid top 4 defenseman, maybe even top pair. I could see this for San Jose saying, we don't think Solberg's going to be our future number 1. We're going to think that we're going to get that next year with like a Logan Hensler, but we're going to get a guy with a very high floor just because of the way Solberg plays and played at the World Championships. I think he's going to be a stud. Michael Hage. Michael Hage would be solid for Detroit. I actually really like this for them. Hage has a lot of upside when looking at him. Detroit, they maybe do need that future number 2 center, more offensive guy. Danielson could end up being their number 2 center, but I don't really love Danielson's ceiling that much. I think he's going to be a very good middle 6 player, two-way guy, but I don't know about a future offensive beast. Jiricek to the St. Louis Blues. I was mocking that for a while. I think that would be a very good fit. Jet Luchenko, 17th to the Washington Capitals. That is very interesting. That would be a little bit of a reach in my opinion, but I think he's a very high floor kind of guy. Branstad Nygaard falling to Chicago would be very good value for them. It seemed like they have a lot of like skill. They have a lot of skill, but smaller guys. So Nygaard is more so like 6 foot, 6'1", or like 200 pounds. He's a bigger boy. I would like that. That'd be a solid. Leshinov and Nygaard. Yzerman, 18th, Vegas Golden Knights. That place. That place is gonna erupt if a Cole Yzerman falls to the Vegas Golden Knights at 19th overall. That would be very good. Cole, I'm gonna botch that name. I don't know how to pronounce his name yet, but I don't know too much about him. Would be a pretty solid pick. Liam Greentree falling to the LA Kings. That would be a very good pick for them. I think Greentree, if you can figure out his skating, could be a very, very good offensive player. And they need some serious offensive playmakers. He carried a pretty bad Windsor team this season. Nashville Predators, that would be another very high upside pick by Barry Trotz. Last year took Matthew Wood. This year Trevor Conley. Shit ton of skills. Some off-ice stuff. Sasha I think Toronto's probably going to go defense. Julius, I'm going to botch that as well. Okay. Ottawa Senators getting EJ Emery would be a very, very good pick. If they got Beckett Seneca and EJ Emery, that'd be a solid haul. I understand if they maybe don't go defense at 7th, but if they don't go defense at 7th, they're definitely going to go defense at 25th. EJ Emery is right-handed, I believe, so that would be the future guy to pair with like a Thomas Chabot. Well done. Surin to the Montreal Canadiens would be very good. I have him within my top 25. Chernyshov would be a steal at 27 to the Hurricanes. I like him a lot. 6'2", dominated the MHL this year. Very good shot, solid skater. That'd be a steal. Saladin Wallenius, he's a top 10 defenseman for me. I like that a lot. Tarek Parasak, I don't like too much. Dean Latorno, I wouldn't love that because I think that he obviously has a shit ton of upside. The Rangers would probably mess him up in terms of development, but he has a very, very, very high upside. Even though he played U18 preps, he dominated 6'7", would be interesting. Sam O'Reilly, we'll just roll through the second round, see if anybody really pops off. Artemanov would be a solid pick in San Jose. He's going to be a good middle sixer. Polkinen would be interesting in Utah. I think who did they have? They took Boyum at 6th overall, so that'd be solid. Get that 6'6" guy to pair him with Boyum down the line. Adam Kleber's a guy that I'm pretty high on. Ryder Ritchie falling to 46. That'd be very good by Pittsburgh. Matvey Gridon's an interesting guy. Led the entire USHL in scoring, but is still behind guys like Hage, Conley in terms of prospects, which I do understand, but I think he should go a little bit higher. Cole Hudson to Philadelphia would be very good. Give you argue, man. It's not going to be a shock if he goes 59th. Alphonse Frey would be a steal. If Carolina got goddamn Chernyshov and Frey, that's like my number 16 and my number like 19. Not to spoil, I don't have it 1000% finalized, but that I would lose it. They'd be absolutely set. They already have fantastic prospects that are going to be debuting next year, as well as a guy like Nikishin. That would be unfair. That would be absolutely unfair. Atos Koivu, that'd be pretty cool. Sako Koivu's son playing for Montreal. Henry Muse falling all the way to 77th would be a great snag. Harrison Brunicki. And yeah, that's about it. I'm trying to see. Owen Allard, the guy that went undrafted last year, played for the Team Canada. I'm trying to see if there's anybody else like insane that's falling late. Carter George would be a good pick by Toronto in terms of goalie prospect. All right, yeah. Let me know in the comments, what do you think about this? Do you think that the top 5 is kind of set in stone, which is the way it's trending right now to be Celebrini, Leshinov, Silyev, Lindstrom, Demidov? The betting odds also line up with that. Past 6th, that kind of gets up in the air. We don't really know exactly what's going to happen. But let me know in the comments, what do you think about this draft? Who do you think is slipping that shouldn't be? Who do you think is going to be a massive reach on draft night? And I'll be seeing you in the next one.